Well, I'm Scott Brady with Overland Journal and Expedition Portal, and I am here with an exciting new product. So this is the four-wheel campers CampOut. Now the CampOut is a brand new concept that brings together a lot of durability and a lot of modularity to a camper at also an affordable price compared to many of the other ones in the segment. This is on a Tundra, so it's light enough that you can have it in a half-ton pickup. This is a 6-foot bed model. It comes in at around 25,000 bucks, but the thing that's really neat about it is it has a much more modern appearance. It has a skinned side. It has a really open, comfortable interior, but they've done this new concept with modular systems. So it comes with 2 of these cabinets in the base price, but then you can add additional cabinets for a dinette. You can add power modules. You can add fridges. You can add bed extenders, so it has a queen size bed in there. So really comfortable camper to be in, and it has this kind of more open, modern feel that I think a lot of people are looking for. So this is a really exciting new product on the market, and it's working great on the back of this Toyota. All right, some unique features on this CampOut. Of course, we've got a smooth siding. It still uses their super strong, very well proven aluminum framework, but then they skin it in this really lightweight composite. And then you've got a bunch of access points for power. So this is going to be your shore power in. You've got an output here from the onboard inverter. You've got an outside shower. You've also got a USB connection here. This is very clever. This is actually a Starlink mini connector. I just brought my Starlink with me on the plane and was able to plug it right into the side of the camper. And then this is, of course, the Truma Combi unit output. This is the exhaust from that propane heater. This panel comes from the factory this way. It's like a Molly panel, so you can put a bunch of accessories on the side, mount some max tracks, etc. You've also got some additional aircraft tie-down channels here, very standard units that you can get a bunch of different accessories for. And then they went real high quality. I mean, they've got an Alu-Cab shadow awning on here, which is one of the better ones on, in the industry, and provides a lot of coverage. They've got these custom brackets here, shows a lot of attention to detail. And one of the things that I really like about four-wheel campers is that they actually set them up to be mounted directly through the bed. So they use the bed mounts to make this camper very securely mounted to the back of the truck. You've also got a really high pop-up configuration, so it does give a lot of headroom on the inside, gives some comfortable headroom in the sleeping area. And then coming in the back here, you got a solar input if you wanted to do some extended solar. It does have solar on the roof. And you got a couple kind of area lights here on the back. Those are always nice to kick on if you're in camp. And then they've got a really high quality door too. So window with a shade, hold open, even has a deadbolt, and then it's got an interior screen. This is kind of rare to find. So it's nice to have an interior screen to keep the bugs out and let some ventilation in. And then this is your propane storage here. So it's got 2 10-pound bottles. This is going to be your hold open for the door. A couple steps to get up onto the roof if you need to check the roof or do some work on the solar panels. And then around on this side, another Molly panel, some more track, and you've got a nice window. This isn't always available on campers like this, so it's nice to have a window that opens for ventilation, proper glass, so good insulation, nice and quiet. But really good looking camper overall. It's nice to see four-wheel campers doing something so new and innovative. They've been around a long time. Deeply respected in the industry, around since 1972, which I actually think is a great vintage because that was when I was made too. All right, so let's take a look around the inside of this four-wheel camper's CampOut. Now this is the 6-foot model, so it feels very spacious, particularly on a full-size truck. So this is currently mounted to the back of a Tundra. The weight of the camper comes in at about 1,500 pounds, depending on how you modify it. So you just got to keep an eye on payload of the platform to make sure that it can support it. But there is a lot of storage and there is a lot of big, comfortable space. So let's look at the details. All right, so the CampOut comes with these 2 modules that you see back up against the back wall of the camper. That's how its standard configuration is set up. The whole idea behind this camper is modularity. Their goal is to be able to come in at a reasonable price point and for the owner to either DIY or to install these various modules that I'm going to show you here. So this module here on the passenger side, this has got all of the upgraded electronics. It's got the battery system. It's got the inverter. This is a Truma combi unit. These have become super popular, propane powered. They create hot water and they also create room heat. This is your 120 volt. This is an interesting little panel here. It's got a 12 volt outlet. It's got a couple USB outlets, and then it's also got this switch here which turns on the power to the outside Starlink mini plug, so you can actually turn that on and off from inside without having to go up on top of the camper. Then you've got your current battery voltage. The battery's holding up really well despite the fact that it has rained all day, so I've had the inverter running pretty much non-stop doing work. So this is your Xantrek. This is going to be your display. That's going to show your current battery voltage. It's also going to be where you're going to turn on your inverter. These are your rear floodlights, and then this is just your outside kind of porch light. All right, here you can see the back side of the combi unit. They use the vent just right off of the unit itself. It does put out a lot of heat, but it's not in the best position for heating a camper, particularly when you want the best heating performance in the middle of the night when it's nice and cold and you're in bed, especially in a soft-sided camper. So it did have to run a little bit more than if, for example, it was facing towards the bed. The other downside is it actually faces towards the fridge, so it's going to require the fridge to run a lot more as well. So battery consumption, overall consumption is going to increase with this location. I see why they did it. The packaging is great. It's really easy for them to fit it in this spot, but it would be nice if that vent was just pointing towards the front. And you can see in here, this is going to be all of your 120 volt and 12 volt breakers and fuses. And then you've also got a master disconnect. So if you pull on that, it disconnects everything. Like if you start seeing some smoke coming out of something, it's always good to have that master disconnect. And then down here, you've got a cabinet where the batteries are. So these are big lithium-ion batteries, and they're going to give a lot of performance. You got a couple hundred amp hours on board, which is just really great for running all of the modern accessories that you need, even the possibility of running a small AC unit. All right, so this is the Dometic stovetop. Just lashes down. That way it can be used in this position. It can be used outside. You can move it around depending on your needs. And then you've got a storage locker here and another kind of locker that is actually accessible from the outside, which contains all of your propane bottles. So this is actually accessed from the outside. And then we've got a 55-liter Dometic fridge. It's in a reasonable spot, gives you kind of an extended work surface if you're cooking, gives you a little bit more of that galley feel. And then you got some spots where you can stash things when you're in camp mode. This module is one of the optional modules, and it's going to be how it's available on the 6 and the 8 foot model. This is a lot of storage here. I've actually got some of my luggage in there. And then this is going to be the extended seating. So this is where you're going to have your dinette. There are 2 cushions. I'm just currently using that to store some luggage because I'm traveling solo. But then you've got additional storage underneath there in that locker. Got a really nice table that can go either side or in the middle. And it can swing this direction here as well and make a lot more space for accessing the dinette to easily get up in the bed. So these are the 2 cushions for either side of the dinette. I've got this one just stationed here for a really comfortable backrest while I'm working. Some additional storage up underneath. And this is another optional module. Now this is your additional galley area. This is going to be your sink. It uses the Dometic water systems, which I find to be just fantastic. I use them in my own camper. You've got some additional storage, a nice deep sink, and that sink actually drains down into one of the Dometic 11-liter bottles down below. So you can see in here that there's quite a few of those Dometic bottles, and you can move between each one of them really easily with those quick disconnects. And then underneath here is where your gray water storage is going to be. But plenty of water on board for most camping needs. And that rounds out all of the individual modules. So I really like the fact that you can start off with such a lightweight, simple camper, and then as you find your needs or your budget affords it, then you can add these additional modules. Or if you know that's exactly what you want from the get-go, you can also specify them all from the factory at that time. All right, so let's take a look at the pop-top system here. This is very traditional four-wheel camper. It uses this clamshell leverage design that pops the back of the camper up. And then this is the cold weather pack, which I'm really grateful for today. It's a stormy day here in the Sierras. Heater's running a lot. It's cold outside, but this adds a lot of insulation, a surprising amount of insulation. But you can see when you pull this down here, you know, here's your vinyl side, and I mean, it's just super cold to the touch. Then these open up, and then you can get access to either additional ventilation if it's warm out, or if you want to just be able to get a view or some additional light into the camper. But really easy to work with. I actually like the fact that they use Velcro for this. It just makes it really easy to work with. And it goes all the way around the camper. All right, and then in the front of the camper, you use this long lever board to kind of press down and push that clamshell design up and into place. And then this secures it so even with a big buffeting wind, it couldn't possibly drop the camper down. You got two big fans, two big electric fans. I love the fact they've got one over the bed so you can kind of pull air through. And then you've got a nice size bed. This is currently like a double bed, you know, comfortable for two people, one person or two people that like each other. That's how I've got it set out. But then this whole panel actually pulls out, and then that allows you to put that cushion and its twin in place up towards the front of the camper so you can have actually a queen size bed. In most cases, people aren't going to do that. You can just sleep east-west. I'm 6'1". This is a full-size camper, so I actually fit east-west just fine. But then that allows you to use this workspace even if someone's having coffee and relaxing in the morning. You don't have to keep that bed configuration going. So you never know what you're going to get when you test something like this camper. And we've got some pretty good rain going on right now. It's just starting to lighten up a little bit, but it was really nuking for the last 2 hours. And it just reminds me of how pleasant it is to have a place to retreat like this camper here. So this is the CampOut, and it doesn't have any leaks so far. I've been checking it regularly, and this is an early production model. It does keep it warm, so despite the fact that it was very cold last night, I'm at elevation in the Sierras with this cold weather pack and a relatively light blanket. I mean, this is not a heavy blanket, and I was comfortable all night. I was able to sleep through the night. So being able to work, being able to sit in here right now, I've got the Starlink fired up, running off of the truck with a proprietary Starlink plug-in cable. And I know that the weather's going to break here in about hour and 45 minutes or so. So then I'm going to be able to get back outside, enjoy the outdoors, maybe even move along on the trail a little bit, although it's going to be pretty soupy.